Hello, Etown Rotary. Greetings.
Can you see that?
Can you believe
Yeah.
after 6 months, we're finally meeting in person? Isn't this great? Look at the weather. If the wind will keep calm, that would just be perfect. We got room to spread out, be among all your buddies, your friends, and amazing award-winning food. Let's give a hand to Jim, Joanne, Mary, and company. Curtis, those are the names I remember. Jim, by the way, is an honorary Rotarian of our club. How many of you knew that? Jim Pinkerton, okay. So Jim, if you can hear us, so glad you can be here. So mid-March was our last meeting. At that point, President Bill was enjoying a much-deserved vacation in Florida at baseball spring training. He asked me to lead the Friday meeting. I presented recent info about this new virus that a lot of us heard about. And I remember saying these words as I was saying farewell to everybody. I said, I can't imagine not hugging or shaking hands. It's just, how is that possible? And we had no idea it would be this long before being together again. A few housekeeping things. Restrooms are up the hill to your left. There's a maintenance building, and it's just beyond that. There are 2 tables for sign-ups. Greg Grove has graciously volunteered to assist. Any of you who are not on My Rotary yet, just a reminder, Rotary.org is the public view of Rotary International. My Rotary gives you access to tons of resources, speakers, just a wealth of stuff that's all Rotary and so worth the time. And the other, Greg Grogan also is willing to assist those of you who indicated an interest in ACH or auto pay for your dues and any other expenses. You'll have an opportunity to speak later. There's a microphone set up on the grass there, or small lawn, and that's going to be a chance to share during Happy Dollars, Fun Ones, and also something I'd like to do to take some time and have whoever's willing to state one of the best things our club has done in the last 5 years to make an impact locally or globally. And so we'll give you some time to prepare what you'd like to say. So Happy Dollars, Fun Ones, and something to share about our club. Safety measures overview, we all know them, CDC guidelines, masks on, of course, if you're not at your table or if you're speaking here like I am right now. Tracy as well, she was thrilled to hear that. Unfortunately, no singing, no reciting out loud to minimize the spread of water droplets. I mean, that one hits. So instead, I thought, let's take a moment and just kind of silence ourselves, and let's just turn our attention to the 4-way test. We all know it. Just kind of say it in your head right now. Good, safe way of being. And then another would be, think about our nation's problems. We have still an awesome country and on so many levels. And take a moment to just sing maybe a little bit of your favorite patriotic song in your heart to recognize that fact of how great our nation is. And meanwhile, Ralph Dietrich is going to come forward. He agreed to give us and deliver an invocation. Thank you very much, Ralph.
I invite us to be in a spirit of meditation and prayer and reflection. Gracious God, we have the blessing of being together as Rotarians in body for the first time in months. Thank you. For the blessing of newer Rotarians in our midst. For the enjoyment of good food and good friendship, we thank you. Gracious God, undergird us with your grace during the special challenges of this time. COVID, disruption of schedules and lives, fires in the West, death from violence in many places. a toxic political environment in our land, and personal challenges in each of our lives. We ask for patience and wisdom and courage to be grounded in eternal values. Values articulated by our founder, Paul Harris, that we are to be purveyors of tolerance, forbearance, justice, kindness, neighborliness, and friendship to the inhabitants of this beautiful world and land. Now let us keep our hearts strong, enthusiasm fresh, hopes high. With this spirit, we embrace the activities of this evening, knowing that we are eternally loved and cared for. Amen.
Thank you so much, Ralph. We'll be back together in a few minutes, so please finish up, check in with Greg and Greg over at the far table, and we'll start our actual business meeting shortly. Thank you.
Hey Ryan, I'm just going to try and see if I can get my other camera working real quick.
Okay.
You might lose the picture for a second.
Okay, that's fine.
I love this camera. Yeah. See if it'll work though. It's feeling.
That's the smooth jazz.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. All right, hold on. I'm going to try something different. It was just using my laptop camera, not this one, which is a much better. Well, here you go, Ryan. You can see everyone. Give you a quick
Cool.
view.
Thanks.
All right. Hi, Ryan.
Just Ryan.
Hello.
Did an invite go out, by the way?
Yes, it did.
Maybe I missed it. I don't know.
All right, that camera's a
Or people
little
may
bit
have
better,
looked at the
so we should have a much
timeline
better
and may log on
view.
when it starts.
I'm sorry?
Like they may be logging on when it really starts.
Yeah, that one's clear.
Yeah.
Like church, if you don't want to do the singing, it's an opportunity for people to log on
They'll jump in
for
later.
the preaching. No, I'm not saying I do that, but I know some people do. Maybe I did it once.
We do have a lot of 5:55 people
Yeah.
that jump on our 6 o'clock meeting.
Yeah.
We'll see, but there are a good amount of people here, so. There we go.
That's more?
Yep.
Nice.
Hey, David.
Hi, David. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, I'm here too, Ryan, keeping you company. You just can't see me.
Yeah, but you're there, so.
That's true.
What's that? With tremendous Tracy? With Tracy?
Margaret or
Oh, no, I'm Tracy. Yeah.
yeah, y'all can, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah. My dad liked it. I think it was in the 60s and that song by the Couplings came out and my 2 older sisters actually picked the name.
So you go to
We're going to get started here in a minute, guys.
Are you following?
My father was a preacher. We were from Newport.
Where'd you go to school?
Manchester College, University of India.
Okay. And did your father preach his whole life, kind of thing?
Hey, Ryan, can you just say something real quick to make sure the speaker's working here?
Sure. What would you like me to say? You hear that?
You're good. I'm going to mute you now.
Preach tomorrow. The best part.
Okay.
I love it. That's a beautiful thing.
Okay, I think we're about ready to begin. Here comes the bell. Wow, that sounds way better live than on Zoom. Ladies and gentlemen, let today be a new beginning for our club, as our community and world need us now more than ever. We're looking forward to even more member engagement in future service projects. We've had a few already, as many of you know, the Little Farm, picking produce for area food pantries. We've had 2 at the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank, and they serve our area as well. Zoom meetings, Zoom. I think maybe we have a new registered 4-letter word. The next one is Zoom, right there alongside of golf. So understandably, we're all zoomed out with business meetings all day. Right now, this is all we have to connect as a club and for members to stay informed. So please spread the word to anyone that you know is not here. We're asking all members to please join us online at least once a month. Last Friday, CPOW, Community Place on Washington, had a groundbreaking event. Congressman Lloyd Smucker was there. County Commissioner DeAgostino was present. Our club was thanked for our past funding and for service projects there. I had a feeling of humble pride as I was there with 3 other Rotarians. We were hearing the ECHO's director and fellow Rotarian Deb Jones sharing this statement. All of our citizens in Elizabethtown deserve to have an enriching quality of life. My fellow members, we are a part of providing that to our people in need through local services that are counting on us for support. In closing, in a bit, I'm going to ask whoever's willing, we're going to have a brief time of celebrating our club and the great work we have done in the past. During our Happy Dollars, Fun Ones, you can also share, in addition to what you're happy about, is what is one of the best things our club has done in the last 5 years to make an impact locally or globally. Little business to conduct. We have future speakers. This coming Friday, our district governor, John Anthony, will be joining us in a Zoom meeting. And a reminder to board members, 11:15, that we're going to have then our private meeting, and the Zoom room will be open 11:10, somewhere around there. Next Monday, to be announced, on September 28th, 2 weeks from tonight, we'll have a presentation to a Paul Harris Fellow. We had Students of the Month join us last Friday in our noon Zoom meeting, and they are Laura Maxwell, Garrett Witters. Probably many of you know them. Pints for Polio. Update on that, we have 4 people who have connected with some awesome ideas on how to make it happen in this crazy time, but we need somebody to step up and oversee the event. So somebody, please contact me. I believe the date's mid-October to late October last year is when we had it, somewhere around there. Regarding service projects, please be on the lookout for upcoming opportunities. Jeff Clark gave you some information. He's our service project chair. The committee would like to hear your suggestions for projects. Community Place on Washington, of course, will be a vibrant place for us to engage, including in February, Founding Day projects. Tyler Smith, our chair of Adopt a Highway, stated that usually fall road cleanup is a Saturday mid to end of October, so you'll be hearing about that. In the past, we've also helped clean up places downtown. And recently I heard about a place in the world that has extreme littering laws. They don't even allow chewing gum. It's outlawed. Who knows what country that is?
Singapore.
Singapore, exactly. Can you believe it? Well, I don't think we have to be that careful in our cleanup. Well, Gears online auction, baskets and more galore. Opportunity coming this week. It ends this Friday at 7 p.m. The online auction. So more info can be found on their website. Christmas tree sale report from Chair Glenn Butte. Our September board meeting met and he reported that we will have over 500 trees to sell this year. Our supplier does not have the same tabletop trees this year due to an early freeze. So that's the latest on the Christmas tree sale report. Now, we do hope to have the same amount of sponsorships as last year to cover the cost of the trees so that once again, all sales go directly to our community. We've always had a great member involvement taking shifts. And of course, we also hope to see the same enthusiasm all year long. All right, I think it's time we have an open mic here for Happy Dollars, Fun Ones. We've been doing fines and birthdays on Zoom. So I thought tonight we would just do the Happy Dollars, Fun Ones. And we could form a line with, safe social distancing at the microphone. We also have some people on Zoom that may like to share, and we have a way for you to hear them. So who would like to start us off with Happy Dollars, Fun Ones? And of course, if you'd like to share something, we would love to hear your input of what our club has done in the last 5 years to make an impact locally or globally. Jim Nelson is going to start us off. So please just remove your mask for the moment. Just be sure you don't touch the mic with your lips, obviously, but please, Jim. Oh, can you turn it on? There's a switch right on the top there, toward you. Now try it.
Now I touched that with my hand, so no one else can do that. I have 72 Happy Dollars because I just celebrated a birthday. And just about now, I was starting my chemotherapy treatments for my pancreatic cancer. So at that point, I didn't know if I would make 72, and I have done that, and I'm thankful for prayers from people like fellow club members and for good medical care. I think right now I'm just a little bit better than I was a year ago, and that's a good thing to be able to say.
Please come forward. Yes. Past President Mike Henshaw.
Dawn, I got a good one for you. As past president, I know what it's like to see your faces in the crowd every week. Dawn has not had that pleasure this year. And while there were some days where it was really daunting for me to face all of you, it was a pleasure to be part of that. And I just want to say congratulations to Dawn on being able to see your faces for the first time. $5.
All right. Bob Hollinger, you got that? Thank you. Yeah, I'm loving this, guys. This is just super. Yes.
Not to make it up for bid, but this is my birthday month and I have 73.
That's Bob Stefalski.
I'm here at the show.
So while the next person's coming, I just want to say I am thrilled that we are sponsoring 7 students as a club, something like $300 each in Haiti. So that's one of our global impacts. So that's one of the many things our club has done in the last 5 years. Past President Jeff Klein.
Thanks, Todd. I've got a Happy Dollar. My daughter's a sophomore this year, and she just made varsity volleyball, so she's very excited.
Treasurer Bob Hollinger.
I have 86 of them.
Dave Hallowell. You might have to pull angle it. There we go.
I said not doing this just to show off, but I gave my check in for 87 Anyway, the thing is, this book, I've said this before, has so much energy to draw of like 6 or 7 presidents preparing to take over the next 6 or 7 years. and they're also bringing out the youth of our community. Take note to this young man sitting here at the table, he's still in college. But that's great. This is the answer to how you have a great Rotary Club. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Logan Hoover, please stand. He's our newest member. Logan, just how old are you?
I'm 20. I'll be 21 in May.
Wow. I believe the record has been set. Bart Ziegler.
Bart, turn in one.
You can't hear it?
No,
Oh, yeah.
it turned off.
Oh, my.
About now. Well, the sheriff has a happy dollar for the first dessert from Gathering Place for 6 months. Oh, I needed that. And I heard it through the grapevine that there's another birthday in the house
Today.
today. Annika.
Oh.
Huh? Stand up, stay. All right, and now that we have all these birthday wishes, let's have a resounding happy birthday song. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3.
On purpose.
Oh, we have a rebuttal. Here we go. Now, please tell us, is it Annika or Annika?
It's Annika.
It's Anita.
All right, now we all know. Thank you.
Or Deb. Ask Debbie likes to call me Anita. I just didn't want to make all these guys feel bad for telling you my check is only going to be for $32. Yes, but it is. I will join the birthday fund. Bob, I owe you $32.
While you're thinking of what you're going to say, I want to also say how thankful I am for this club. 2 consecutive years prior to this, we funneled $30,000 into the opioid crisis and drug abuse prevention locally as well as countywide. So there's another awesome thing our club has done. Please continue the sharing. We've got time. Happy Dollars Fun Ones. Something you'd like to share that you are very happy about our club, the impact we've made locally.
How old are you, Paul?
Okay, Paul,
This is not a birthday. 2 happy dollars. 1, thanks to Joe Redmond for a great start to the fantasy football season. Also, a second one is my first grandson just started college. He's alumni of Ryla in northern Jersey, and he started college. It's not quite like it was when I started, but at least he's there.
Yeah. All right. How about the student scholarships that we have been sponsoring? I think many students, either the loans or the scholarships, have been an awesome resource for our community. Okay, somebody else, please step forward. Tell us what you are happy about or what our club has done in the last 5 years.
Yeah, hi. So I have $5. I want to do $2 for the groundbreaking event at Community Place on Washington. That's really exciting to see. But I want to do $3 for, I have a high school senior son, and he made the football team, and he had his first scrimmage on Saturday night, and he made a tackle. And so I'm a very proud mom.
Paul brought up Joe Redmond. We all know that he started the Taste of West Lancaster County and how much that has generated for support of our library. So another awesome thing to really be excited about. So celebrating our happy dollars, celebrating our club. This is just an awesome day, everybody. Please keep a comment. This is great.
Is Taste going to go this year?
Is Taste going to go? Well, I know Kevin's been interacting with the library. I forget her name. Yeah. Yes. And they're trying to work on a plan B. So that's all I know at this point. Okay, any more? The microphone is still open. Some people say, just give me a mic. Other people say, don't give him a mic. Anybody else want to share? Okay, if not, I think it's time for our guest speaker. Many keynote speakers can be entertaining, but Tracy brings a unique approach to motivation that includes a call to action, complete with tools you can put to immediate use. Her latest book, Spark, 5 Essentials to Igniting the Greatness Within, includes her doctoral research. She is always looking for opportunities to help businesses invest in their employees with training, coaching, or continuing education credits. Author, speaker, Air Force Academy graduate, decorated veteran, international leadership expert, scholar, and researcher, Tracy C. Jones is the president of Tremendous Leadership. She has released Beyond Tremendous, Raising the Bar on Life, to help others move beyond their ordinary experience to generate their best identity. A message to millennials, encouraging the next generation of leaders by teaching the importance of followership. Let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Tracy Jones.
So much. All right, I am excited to be here. When they called me, Alyssa's like, hey, do you want to Zoom or do you want to be in person? I'm like, let's be rebels. Let's meet in person. So I am just thrilled that everybody's here on this beautiful day, my favorite time of year, and thank you so much for that introduction. So just have a little bit of time to share with you guys, and I just wanted to bring a little bit of perspective. I sit there before I come to talk to people, and I sit there and I think, okay, where are they coming from? What do they need to hear? And a lot of times, you know, you're just going through the corporate grind or you're an entrepreneur, but this coming together, just about 6 months exactly to the day of when the gates closed and life kind of as we knew it. And so just coming back together, and I looked at the email that came out and I saw that Don or somebody had put the entertaining leader, or the leader is an entertainer, or something like that. Did I dream that, or did I see that?
That might have been a dream.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, I thought this was kind of funny because those of you that know my father, Charlie Tremendous Jones, I was raised with a guy whose middle name was Tremendous. Okay, he was a motivational speaker, and I tell people that growing up with a motivational speaker as a father was a little bit like a cross between boot camp and a sitcom. Okay, so it was really always very fun, but it was always there better be a purpose for the fun, you know. And I can remember sitting around the breakfast table in kindergarten before I was going to school. My dad would be like, Tracy, what do you want to do with your life? You know, and I'm like, Daddy, I just want to make it to first grade. Is that okay? And so he just always had this incredible exuberance about him. Those of you that knew him.
Tracy, can you get a little closer?
Oh, absolutely. Those of him that knew him.
All right.
Okay. Are we good? Those of him that knew him. And so one of the things that he would do, he would speak and he would ask me, I was 5th out of 6, so props for us middle children. We're the adaptable ones, we're the easygoing ones. Nothing against you oldest and youngest, but you know, we're the cool ones anyhow, right? Where's my middle kids? Right, okay, we're the minority here, I better be quiet. But anyways, he would ask me to come on over and when he would go on speaking engagements, and it was when I was little enough that he could pick me up, so probably elementary school, and at the end of a presentation, he'd say, Tracy, come on up, and I'd scoop me up in his arms, and we'd do this little shtick, and he'd say, Tracy, he'd say, how are you? And I'd say, tremendous, and he'd say, well, how are things going? And I'd say, I hope things don't get any better. And he'd say, why? And I'd say, because I'm so tired of being happy, it's wearing me out. Woo! And everybody would, of course, laugh. And so what I grew up with in life was learning that no matter what was going on, enthusiasm makes all the difference in the world. I don't care if it's a pandemic. You heard I was in the military. I don't care if it's going to war. I don't care if it's in sickness and health. The externals are the externals, and everything that's going on inside of you is what you can control. All right. We publish a lot of great books, As a Man Thinketh, and it's all about what's in here. So you had mentioned that I had just completed my doctoral research. And one of the things that I did is I studied an organization that went through a crisis. It was a merger, and those of you that have been through a merger or acquisition, they're always very scary because somebody's in the power position, even though together we're going to be stronger and it's all going to be one, it's still scary, okay? Because you don't know who's going to make the cut. And so I had the privilege of doing a case study where I interviewed a whole litany of people, the leaders and the followers. And in this merger, everybody was guaranteed a job. which typically does not happen, those of you that have been through them. They can be, in the corporate world, mergers can be quite bloody. And so talking to these people where this was guaranteed, I interviewed all these different people, and I watched as some people, when they talked to me, thought this was the worst thing that ever happened to them. And then I watched other people that said it was a walk in the park, it was no big deal. And I sat there wondering to myself, what is it about certain things that makes some people get so, we've heard the word triggered in a negative way, and other people, it's just like it's not that big of a deal. And as Don had said, are we better with the sound?
Yeah. Let's bring the
Okay.
microphone up just a little speed.
Okay, got it. Okay, how's that? Is that better, you guys? Okay, good, thank you. There's really three things that really stuck out. And I like to call them the 3 Ps. So the 3 Ps, and I say this because as we're coming back off this weird thing that we have been through, okay, we're going to have to go back to how it was. And there's 3 things that I really want to share with you as you remember when you're dealing with people. So to help you get oriented, because what we went through is something that we went through. And if you think back in history, there have been things that people exactly in this audience that have been through that have been far worse than what we just went through. Sitting in my house, I just got married in January, so I pretty much had a 7-month honeymoon, okay? There are worse things. I mean, if you marry the wrong person, then that could be a really bad thing, like that could have been the end of it. But there are worse things you can do than getting sequestered to your house. So the 3 things I just want to share with you now, as you're going back to the world, as you're dealing with people, because everybody processes stress differently, okay? Number 1 is their past experiences. Okay. Number 2 is their perspective. And number 3 is their personality. Okay. First of all, their past experiences. I heard the gentleman that just talked and said he was 72 years old and he wasn't sure if it was pancreatic cancer and he wasn't sure if he was going to make it to 72. Okay. What I found with people is if you have been through crises in your life, I mean bad crises, when you get something like this, it's just a bump in the road. Okay, when I interview people about this crisis, this merger that went south, even if they were scared about losing their job, I had people say to me, you know what, Tracy, I had a twin sister that we were out walking and a driver ran a red light and hit her in the crosswalk and she died right beside me. Another individual said, hey, Tracy, I had a mother that suffered mental illness and I watched my father stand by her and love her until the day she passed. And another person said, hey, we grew up in extreme poverty, but we figured, so these people, when I said to them, how did you possess that? It's a term called self-efficacy. And self-efficacy, you can sound really smart when you say it, is $1 million PhD word for motivation, okay? It's the atmosphere when you bring into a room. And you know, you've heard some people say, hey, some people brighten the room when they enter it, other people when they leave it, okay? So that efficacious people are the ones that when they enter the room, just like here, the vibration, sitting here talking with Don and everybody was so welcoming. You guys helped me hold my books down. It was a joy to really come down here and see everybody. So when you are going back into the new normal, whatever that is be, and it's going to happen, okay, because we are coded for attachment. I love technology, but if I have to sit there and stare at that Zoom camera one more time and talk to that little fisheye, it's just the human connection. That's what we're coded for, okay? From a theological standpoint, from an evolutionary standpoint, we are best when we are together as a humanity, all right? So when you're dealing with people, when they go out and they're trying to process what happened, even people that you're trying to get into the meeting, just remember, their past experiences, the level of stress or distress that they've been through are really going to craft how they approach different things, okay? So I have, in the military, been to war, had to deal with chemical warfare. I've gone in really yucky places all over the world where I had to get 50 shots before I could even touch anything. Those of you that are in ministry and working with people that are compromised due to drugs or disease, I go into the prisons, okay? So my perspective when it comes to mitigating risks is it has to be really, really something scary for me to really be put off by it. Okay, because that's my experiences. And my dad would always tell me, when you go through life, everybody's born with an empty key ring, and every experience you go through, good, bad, and especially your failures, give you additional keys to go through life. Okay, so hopefully hopefully, what I hope for leaders and followers and people going out in organizations is they come through this whole pandemic episode and they realize how much more resilient that they are. Because you've probably heard the fight or flight syndrome. You guys have all heard that? You know, it's that reptilian brain thing right in the center here that when threatened with something, you're either going to lash out or you're going to run away, okay? Well, the better option is, where you use the frontal lobe cortex, is you adapt, okay? So this regenerative capacity, this adaptive capacity, when you go back into the workplace, when you start regathering as a club, some things will be different, some things will be not so different, and a lot of things are going to be better because you are going to regenerate and you're going to adapt to the next great version of what this is. And you know, they say that in Mandarin, the word crisis has the crisis element, but the other side of the Mandarin character is opportunity. So the beauty of a crisis is that it shakes up the normal so bad that you have to face everything and you have to reevaluate everything. And I don't know about you guys, but I have gotten more done in the last 6 months after I, was like, no, this can't happen. I mean, I can remember in March, they're like 2 weeks, and I'm like, 14 days. Yes, I'm being in the military, I'm a rule abider, so I'm like, okay. And then they said all the month of April, and I'm like, how many days are there in April? I don't know if I can do that. And then it just kept going on, and I wanted to fight. I wanted to fight, and I'm like, no, I have to find a way to adapt. There has to be a way to adapt to this. And I am involved with so many different organizations that are just turning and creating and pivoting and doing away with the old and picking up a space in the new, and then they'll bring forward what can come forward. But it's just a beautiful perspective. I hear some people again that will sit there and say, well, Tracy, I don't think I'm ever going to feel comfortable leaving my house. To which I say, okay, it's your option. That's less people on the road driving, right? You know what I'm saying? If this is how you want to do it, then that's how you can do it. Everybody has that option. But for people that really, the more you go through, and if you think this is the last pandemic, we've been through quite a few pandemics before. I had somebody younger say to me, I never thought I'd live to see a pandemic. And I'm like, really? We've been through like 7 at least, MERS, SARS. Pandemic means it just happens all over the world, okay? So there are quite a few of these that have happened. So really just letting people orient and say, hey, you've been through it, you made it, you got that, feather in your cap. And so if you're dealing with something before, you can be better prepared for it. The next thing in talking to these people that I dealt with was their perspective, okay? And a lot of times people, believe it or not, are not so tremendous and they're actually more selfishly oriented. Now, listen, we all have this thing where we take care of ourselves first, but I mean people, I call them SOBs, which stands for self-oriented behavior, okay? You can say it, get away with it, not get hauled to HR. And so these are the people, like when I would interview going through this thing, or even friends that I would talk to at the pandemic, would say it was all about them, not their neighbor. I mean, not the good of the company, not the good of the country. It was all about them. So when you deal with people in your team or in your organization, if you have a higher perspective, like the good of the country or the good of the community, you tend to be way more resilient and way more able to handle the bad things that come your way, because it's not just about you, it's about something greater than you. All right. So when you're dealing with people, now I'm also going to say this because I can be very frank with you guys. If this person hated work before, guess what's going to happen after the pandemic? They're still going to hate work. Okay. And I look at people, I can remember I'd be shopping, and I hear people say, oh, well, I like this because I didn't want to go to work. And I'm thinking, okay, so you know what I'm saying? The pandemic did not turn people from solid people into fritzy people. All it did was squeeze them and reveal what was inside. So what you want to find when you're building your organization or coming back together is the resilient people. And I don't mean the people that act like it's a fake. It's not a fake. I got sick. I can tell you it was not fun. And I got better, okay? You want to find the people, though, that are resilient in their nature and will sit there and go, you know what? That was a setback, but I'm going right back in because it's for the good of the organization, okay? And when I see people that may say, well, I'm scared, I never want to go back to church, okay, but the organization needs you to still stay integrated, okay? And typically when I hear people say that, and trust me, you guys are all here, so I'm not being judgy, they never wanted to come in the first place, Okay, so I just want to reveal that and say, when you're dealing with people and you're working with them, just understand that so you don't sit there and waste a lot of time and energy. If they didn't want to come before, the odds are they're not going to come. Even if tomorrow they say, it's all gone, poof, everybody get back, there's still going to be certain people that are like, no, I don't want to, because there were people like that before. Does that make sense? Okay, well, and the last thing I want to talk about is your personality. Your personality has the biggest impact as far as how you handle things that go on like this. And there's a trait there's a big 5 personality trait profile, and it stands for the acronym OCEAN, and I talk about it in my book. And OCEAN is O is for openness, C is for conscientiousness, and E stands for extroversion. All right. So when I say extroversion, what I mean is not, are you an extrovert or an introvert? Extroversion is this extroversion of yourself that when the going gets tough, you all of a sudden, you run into the burning building rather than run out of it. Does that make sense? Okay. And so when the fire is on, like I was in the military, you wanted very extroverted people there because when the bullets started flying, you did not want people that were going to turn and run. All right. And so extroversion is this atmosphere that you bring in, this sense of optimism and hope. And I'm reminded of a guy that he was out of work. And the economy was really bad, kind of like right now, and he was having a tough time finding a job. And he looked in the want ads, and for some of our younger members, well, when we were growing up, we would have to look in the newspaper to find jobs. We would have to look it up, and then we'd go find a phone and we'd call them. And so the want ads, and he looked, and there was an ad in the paper for a job at the zoo. And so he thought to himself, well, I'm desperate, I'm going to go down. So he went down to the zoo and saw the zookeeper. And the zookeeper said, well, times are tough here at the zoo, too. And our gorilla just died. And so what we need to do is have you put on this gorilla suit and go out there and put the monkey suit on because, you know, he's a big draw. And the guy thought to himself, I don't know how to do that. He's kind of negative. And he thought to himself, but I know about the term of extroversion. I heard he was at a Rotary meeting, and he thought, but I'm going to say, I'm going to do it. So he puts on this monkey suit. He goes out to the gorilla cage, okay? And the first day, he's just kind of standing around the gorilla cage. People are walking by looking at him. He's looking at them, and he starts thinking, all right, I got to work this, all right? If I'm supposed to be the big draw, I got to work it. I got to bring the energy, all right? Atmosphere doesn't just come out of nowhere. I got to create the atmosphere. So he starts kind of shuffling around, and the more animated he gets, the more he realizes that people start coming by and really just like digging what he's doing. And they start throwing him peanuts and bananas, and he's digging it, and he's all over. He's just jumping around. Well, one day, he looks up and he sees there's a trapeze up in the top of the cage. And he thinks to himself, today's the day I'm going for it. So he jumps up on the gorilla trapeze and he starts swinging back and forth. And the higher he goes, the bigger the crowds are. People are yelling, they're cheering, they're screaming. And one day he gets to swinging so high, he flies out of the top of the gorilla cage and he lands right in the middle of the lion's den. And he gets up and he shakes his head and he looks and he sees these lions are roaring towards him. And he yells, help, help, somebody save me. And just then one of the lions leapt on him, grabbed him by the throat and said, you better shut up or we're all going to get fired. Okay? So whenever I hear people complain about stuff, I'm like, you better shut up or just bring it. Okay? So this extroversion is just, oh, thank you. That over. Extroversion is really, I mean, and you know, when I saw that the leader is the entertainer, the best thing that I could have done for my team when this whole thing hit was sit there and tell them, we're going to figure it out. It's going to be okay. I don't know how, but it's going to be okay. Listen, there are countries where it is not okay. I have friends in Africa. I was in Africa in April last year. If they don't work, it's not like here. They don't have PPPs. If you're not working, you're not eating. Okay, and I have dear friends that are just starving. They have no cases and they're starving to death. Okay, so what, you know, I don't want to hear anything because there are just so many things that you can do if you just bring it. So extroversion. Now, the flip side of extroversion, you're going to run into people that have a trait called neuroticism. Have you ever heard somebody say that about somebody, you're so neurotic? And I always thought that was kind of funny, but that's actually a psychological term, neuroticism. And that's that extreme negativity, that rumination, that anger. Somebody cut you off in traffic 20 years ago and you're still PO'd about it, you know, you just, I can't let it go kind of thing, you know, and you see it. Or a boss did them wrong and every boss in the future is going to pay for it. You know, what is that in fried green tomatoes? What did Dolly say? Or something, get down off the cross, somebody needs the wood. You know, it's kind of your martyr complex people. So anyhow, the trait of neuroticism is a serious negative thing. And even when I was interviewing people for this PhD, even though they've been interviewed and have been guaranteed a spot, guess what? This is never going to work. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. It's not going to work. So this is this high sense of neuroticism. So I say when you're going out into the new normal, watch out for these people. But you know what? You had to watch out for them before. My dad would call them thumbsuckers, okay? And he's like, if you want to be a better giver, hang out with better givers. Want to be a better Rotarian, hang out with better Rotarians. If you want to be a better thumb-sucking, complaining, griping bonehead, hang out with better thumb-sucking, complaining, griping boneheads, okay? Great people beget great people. And whiny thumbsuckers beget whiny thumbsuckers. So you want to make sure you hang out with great people. And when I think about neuroticism, I think of the story of the lady that went to her hairdresser, and her hairdresser says, fixing her hair, and she says to the lady, where are you going? She goes, well, I'm going on a flight, a second honeymoon. And the hairdresser says, really, what airline are you taking? And the lady says, well, I'm flying United. The hairdresser says, oh, United. Their planes are always late. They drag people off. They stuff dogs in overhead. They're just terrible. You're going to have a terrible flight, okay? So then she says, well, where are you going? And the lady says, well, I'm going to Rome. And she says, oh, Rome, the Italians, they act like they don't know English. They're pickpockets. It's a dirty city. You're going to have a terrible time. And she says, well, where are you staying in Rome? And the lady says, a little village called Trieste. And the hairdresser says, oh, I just saw on TripAdvisor, got horrible reviews. Less than 1 star. Well, you're going to have a terrible time. And she says, well, what are you going to do when you're in Rome? And the lady says, well, when in Rome, I'm going to go see the Pope. And the lady says, you and a million other people, the Pope's going to be like this tiny little ant. How are you going to see the Pope? So the lady gets her hair done, she goes away. 2 months later, she's back. Hairdresser remembers him and says, hey, how was your trip? Woman goes, you're not going to believe it. Lady goes, uh-huh. She goes, well, we got to United Airlines, and they had just upgraded to this new Airbus 380, and we got actually bumped up into the concierge level. It was like flying on a magic carpet. And the hairdresser goes, okay. And she goes, well, what about the place you stayed? And she goes, they had just done a $20 million renovation. We got to meet the owners. We became friends with them. They're going to come party with us. It's just like, it was just incredible. And the hairdresser goes, yeah, well, what about the Pope? And the lady's like, you're really not going to believe this. She goes, there we were, my husband and I, standing way in the back, and the Swedish Secret Service tapped us on the shoulder and said, hey, if you want to come over here, the Pope likes to meet some of the commoners after he's done. If you come over in this hallway, in about an hour, we'll bring the Pope in. And the hairdresser goes, you're kidding me. And the lady goes, no. So about an hour later, in comes the Pope, and he came over, and he took my hand, and he leaned over, and he whispered into my ear. And the hairdresser says, really? What did he say? And the lady said, he said, who gave you that lousy hairdo? So that's what I tell people when they start with the negativity. I just look at them and smile and say, who gave you that lousy hairdo? And they kind of laugh. So you really want to, like I said, there are some people, even if you told them, I'll give you a shot tomorrow so you'll live to be a gazillion years old, I'll give you, they would still grouse. So this personality thing, really when you're going back out into the world, and you know what was true then, because I did my research pre-pandemic, is absolutely true now, okay? So I just wanted to share that with you. I hope you got some tips about personality, past experiences. Remember, that you've never met a great leader with an easy past. When you look at great leaders, you can see they've really been forged in fire, and they've been through the tough stuff. I interviewed a leader once. Nothing bad had ever happened to him. It was the most boring 2 hours I've ever. I'm like, you don't have any. It was like Kramer and on Seinfeld when Jay Peterman, bought his stories. I'm like, you got nothing. You got no war stories, okay? If you don't have war stories, you don't really have anything, okay? So just remember that. And then their orientation. People, we all tend to be selfishly oriented. My dad always said, Tracy, you gotta plant your flag. Are you gonna live life for yourself or something higher? And I know why you guys are here, because you've chosen the latter. So you're gonna have a very different perspective than most people. But I just wanted to share too, I bought, because I know you were talking about the entertaining leader, I brought copies of, if you guys are interested in, okay. So here is my new book that just came out 1 September, all right? It's called Spark, the 5 Essentials to Ignite the Greatness Within. And if everybody in America would get a copy of this and read this book, it would sure mean a lot to me, okay? I mean, it really, really would. It would probably spark a lot of greatness too. So SPARK is an acronym for the 5 different things. So just a quick read. And then I have a little special Rotary bundle. And then my dad's joke book, because I thought it was supposed to be entertaining. Humor is tremendous. all good, clean jokes, not going to get you in trouble. Some are a little dated and hokey, but some of us old timers will really think they're funny. And then as far as communication, one of our little life-changing classics, we have 32 of these. There's one on Ronald Wilson Reagan, the great communicator. And whatever you think of his politics, he had a brilliant way, okay, of communicating with people, of getting them to laugh, just like Zig Ziglar's, like some of these other guys. And who was it? Was it Churchill that says, you know, tact is the ability to tell somebody to go to hell and they look forward to the trip. I mean, that's really what Ronald Reagan was around. So I have little bags of these over here if you'd like to pick one up, and I brought a little chip scanner. Also, I have a little sign-up list here too. If you want to get on our mailing list, my gift to you when you sign up is 2 free weeks of ebooks. Who doesn't love free books? And then also, I have a little link on my LinkedIn, if we connect, where somebody just showed me how to do this, and I'm really excited about it. A 30-minute exploratory call for discovery and collaboration. Because the one thing I have really found about during this pandemic is the power of reciprocity versus reach. Rather than trying to go out and grab it, reciprocity is such a beautiful thing because collectively we're just augmenting one another and we're cross-pollinating. So I have those things as gifts for you if you guys want to sign up, or you can even just get on the website yourself and sign up and check out the free stuff. So thank you guys so much. I'm just thrilled to be back, and in my mind, it's all normal. I'm looking out there and it's all good. So thank you guys so much.
If you have a question, go ahead and jump on that mic on the lawn there. So Tracy would be happy to field any questions.
I would love to field any questions.
Hi, Tracy. First, thanks for your service to our country. Appreciate it. My question is, does your book, or can you offer any advice for the victim of, the husband of an executive whose company periods?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I probably can. Did you go through it?
Yeah.
How long ago was it?
The past 5 years.
Okay. Wow. It is tough. I'll tell you what though, you know, the biggest thing with dealing stuff like that, compartmentalize it and let it go. Somebody put something on Facebook the other day and said the best way to get revenge is to just forget about it. So I'm not sure where you were in the whole revenge scheme of things, but listen, I know. As long as you're just in the planning phase, yeah, that's fine. I think you're fully healed and recovered. I can tell by that smile. Oh, guys, yeah. Anybody, anything else? Anything at all?
You did a good job.
Oh.
So this sign up we could put over here.
Yeah, sign up right there. And like I said, I have the little book bundles. I think all 3 of them together are $20. Like I said, I got a swiper and I can sign it. You know, the book's worth nothing, but with an autograph, it's like priceless. I'm sure on eBay you can put it for like $5 or something like that.
Well, we have a gift for you, Tracy. Now, this is the ongoing pen with a stylus, which I happen to have one here that has our club name on. That's for you. Yeah, big deal, right? But well, she says she needs it. But guess what, guys? Maybe you saw it in the on the registration table. But we have a new gift for our guest speakers, and it's the portable charger. You know, you USB it, charge it, carry it anywhere you go, whether it's Africa or wherever you end up.
And it's a little one too. The other one I got is like a brick. It's from like 10 years ago. Yeah.
Well, and it has our club logo on it. So let's give another round welcoming, thankful applause. Does anybody have anything else for the good of the order before we call this meeting? And of course, stick around as long as you'd like. We have the place till about 7:30. So if you care to, we'd be happy to have some hands to help lug things and carry things. But if not, I call this meeting officially closed.